And welcome to Studio 5. We have lots to get to, so let's fire up the countdown and begin this week's look at the top 5 headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment. At number 5.
Franklin, I'm not gonna change.
Chance the Rapper puts his money where his mouth is, making headlines for his pledge of $1 million to support mental health in his hometown, Chicago.
Chicago's Chance the Rapper attended today's city council meeting.
The active artist has dubbed his initiative My State of Mind.
Dropping the clues belongs to my man Chance the Rapper. Mental health is definitely what.
My name is Chance the Rapper. I'm here representing the city of Chicago.
Chance is also giving $100,000 to 20 additional Chicago public schools.
Choosing the squad. She trying to choose between me, Justin Quay and the sword. She told me that she learned that I make music for God.
At number 4.
Dancing with the Stars, Junior.
It's a younger take on the hit television dance competition. Dancing with the Stars Juniors premiered this week on ABC, with 12 young celebrities now competing for the coveted Mirrorball Trophy.
1, 2.
I loved having my sister as a mentor because she just helped us through everything.
And they have such a good chemistry.
Yeah.
It's a television first for the series.
Oh, I think that I'm shocked that it's taken this long to do it. I mean, kids are literally the best.
And all signs are pointing to a hit.
Whoa, this is a lot of choreography. You did great, Jason.
With that, the countdown is off to a great start, and so is today's show. You have seen comedian Michael Jr. on The Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and in the film War Room. You can now catch him on the big screen in his own comedy special. It's called More Than Funny, and it's a mix of hilarious stand-up and 3 real-life stories that will surely touch your heart. Here's a sample of the stand-up.
So you've been coaching for 30 years. So as a coach, have you ever said this or something like this? Have you ever looked at your team and said, listen, the stuff I'm teaching you here is not just about this game. You can apply it to life. You ever say that? Exactly. Here's the thing about that statement, coach. It's not true. I need you to stop saying it immediately. Let me explain. Straight out of high school, I got a job parking cars. One of the cars was really nice, so I took it for a little spin. Company found out my boss lost the account. He was yelling at me, screaming. I didn't know what to say or do. I thought back to my high school football coach. I looked at my boss, I was like, you know what, man? You win some, you lose some, man. You can't let this one loss get you down. Listen, the important thing is I went out there and I had fun.
That was Michael Jr. on stage, and he joins us now here in studio. So the film More Than Funny.
Yes.
Why is it more than funny?
Well, it kind of started, so I was doing a show about 9 years ago in Los Angeles at this comedy club. And right before I got on stage, I had a change in mindset about comedy. Normally when a comedian gets on stage, we want to get laughs from people. And I felt like a shift took place where I felt like God was saying, instead of trying to get laughs from people, I want you to give them an opportunity to laugh. So this changed everything. So I go on stage that night, we have a good time, but it's different. Like I'm way more relaxed, the audience seems to be way more responsive. And then I leave and I go outside and there's people who are taking pictures, they want autographs. It's the same situation whenever I leave this club, but this time when I walk outside, I see a homeless guy. So I asked myself, I was like, what about him? How could I give him an opportunity to laugh? So I started thinking about that, and then 4 days later, this lady at one of my events came up to me and she said, hey, would you consider coming to the homeless shelter where I work at to do comedy? And I was like, wow. No, I'm not. no, I never even thought of such a thing. Why would you do that? So I actually went to that shelter and did comedy, and then it was so powerful. So what we decided to do, we added that to our tour. So when we would go to a city, we'd find a homeless shelter or a prison, abused children's facility, and we would do comedy there before the big comedy show that night. So one night I'm on stage and I feel like, so when I'm on stage, I'm really asking the question, what can I give to this audience? Whether it be laughter or whatever the case might be, as a result of that shift that took place 9 years ago. So this in particular night, I feel like I should share one of the stories from the abused children's facility I was at in the middle of my comedy show. So the story's not funny at all. No. Why would I share this story? Mm-hmm. But I'm listening between the gaps, and I just feel like, I really feel like God is saying, share the story. So I went on ahead and I shared the story, and the audience is captivated, but they're not laughing, but they're locked in. So then I segue, and I can't even tell you what I said. I segue back to the comedy, and the laughs were even bigger. Now you would think people would be startled, but no, they were bigger. It's like we went deeper. So we just continued to do that, and then when it came time to film my comedy special, I was like, why don't I take my camera crew, we go out, we find the best 3 stories that we can, and we put them in the middle of the jokes. So that's the more part of the comedy special, More Than Funny.
This is not just a film. It seems like it's the beginning of a movement. Correct?
That would be awesome. First of all, this has never been done before. And we're hoping that there's a little thing at the end, that, or close to the end, where I kind of break the fourth wall a little bit. And people aren't expecting it. And when you see this movie, I'm hoping that something kind of cool could take place, but I won't necessarily give it away. You gotta see the movie.
You gotta see it. You really do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's life-changing, even the way you break down what comedy is.
Yeah.
And the fact that applies to all of our lives.
Yeah, and I could share some of that.
Go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
I like.
All right, cool. So I figured out the way comedy works, and I've been doing comedy for probably like 25 years now, but the way comedy works is a comedian will use any resource, any talent he has to make an audience think in one direction. Well, the punchline occurs when he changes that direction in a way they're not expecting. Yeah. And when they catch on to that change, that's actually them receiving the punchline, and the results are revelation, fulfillment, and joy, but it's expressed through laughter. Life, I feel like God has shown me that life is very, very similar. There's a setup, and then there's a punchline. Your setup is the fact that you're married, you got a car, you got a house. Your setup is about what you've received, but your punchline is about what you're called to deliver. So in this movie, you actually see some people delivering their punchline, not just me, and then you're inspired in a way and given some tools, some practical tools on what to do to figure out what it is and even walk in it. And here's the thing, if I only make one person laugh and change their heart, well, that's not enough. I'm gonna need more than one person to do that. But God has a plan, and I just can't wait to see what happens as a result of it. They can go to the More Than Funny movie. They can go to morethanfunnymovie.com, put in the name of their city or their zip code, and it'll pop up as to where the movie's playing near you. And hopefully the theater's not sold out, but if it is, call them and say, hey, can you add another screen?
Yeah.
And they'll do that sometime too.
Cool.
So
excellent.
I'm excited, man.
More Than Funny. Get to the theater and see it.
You're a good interviewer, man.
Thank
good
you.
Stuff.
Thank
cool.
you. Your pleasure.
People probably got us confused, though.
Still ahead.
I don't know who's behind this or why they chose me.
We're on the set of the CBS series God Friended Me and sitting down with the cast. And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of the best headlines in uplifting entertainment news continues now. At number 3.
The former first daughter tying the knot, 2 former presidents beaming, and something borrowed with true meaning.
Wedding bells for the former first family.
Former first daughter Barbara Bush quietly tied the knot with her screenwriter fiancé Craig Coyne.
There were so many happy tears.
The couple was surrounded by just family during an intimate ceremony at the Bush family compound in Maine.
The secret and private ceremony took place Sunday.
Barbara's now husband proposed in the same spot where Barbara's grandparents were engaged more than 70 years ago. And even though the former First Lady passed away earlier this year, her memory was still very much alive.
Her something borrowed was a bracelet that my grandfather gave to my grandmother.
At number 2. Legendary rocker Tina Turner says her husband saved her life.
Wonderful guy. He's a catch.
For the first time, the singer shares she underwent a kidney transplant, and her husband, Erwin Bach, donated his kidney for the surgery. The revelation comes in her new memoir titled My Love Story. Tina suffered from kidney disease, and just 2 years ago, her kidneys were functioning at only 20% and plunging rapidly. In her book, she encourages people to sign up for organ donation. At 78, Tina has survived a stroke and intestinal cancer. There is now only one remaining headline in this week's countdown. The new fall television season is in full swing. We've already given you a first look at the new CBS drama God Friended Me. It debuted with big ratings, attracting more than 10 million viewers. So we traveled to New York City to chat with the cast and to visit the set. It's really a bright spot in entertainment.
There is no proof of God anywhere in the universe. We will debate that and more on today's episode of the Millennial Prophet. I am your host, Miles Feiner, reminding you that there is no God and that is okay.
An outspoken atheist.
I thought I had it all figured out, but then something happened and it changed my life forever. I got a friend request from God.
What?
Accepts a friend request from God. And so begins the CBS series God Friended Me.
Rolling.
Starring Brandon Michael Hall, who we visited on set in New York City. Miles Feiner, how big of a stretch is this character for Brandon and Michael Hall?
No, Miles is a big stretch. I grew up in a household full of religion, and I grew up going to church at least 3 to 4 or 5 times a day on a Sunday, you know. So to go from going from understanding what faith and religion means to me, and then playing a role where it's completely taken away and he's finding his own way back, I think it's a huge opportunity for me to learn a lot, you know. First, I'm learning about the Bible, I'm learning about other religions, other spiritualities, but I'm also gaining a closer understanding with myself, you know. So those are the roles you really want to sink your teeth into.
Let me get this straight. You're being catfished by someone calling themselves God on Facebook.
Yes, and I need your hacker skills to give me their IP address.
Keep your voice. How many times I gotta tell you I'm not a hacker, okay? I'm a video game enthusiast. Okay, what do you know?
This is the set for where Miles Feiner works, Identity Seal, a company charged with safeguarding people's identity. At the same time, Miles is struggling with a big part of who he used to be, and something his father still is. A man of faith, a minister, in fact.
This podcast of yours, you think you're helping people, but you're not.
That's not true.
You are taking away people's hope.
And you're telling them that God is watching over us. You know better than anyone that's not true.
You don't think that what happened made me question my faith?
It's Joe Morton.
You've gotten yourself into a bit of trouble, Olivia, and I'm here to fix it.
America's favorite diabolical dad in the hit series Scandal plays Miles's father in God Friended Me. Have you ever undergone a place where you were sort of at a crisis faith moment?
I don't know that I lost my father when I was 10 years old, under some very suspicious circumstances, at a time when, you know, I'd been baptized Catholic and so on and so forth. I don't know that I blamed anyone at that time other than myself. But that's, again, a kind of loss of faith in your own humanity.
Look, I know the nurse in the photo is your mom. She left when you were a kid, right?
Why do you even care?
When I was 8, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I prayed for a miracle, and then it happened. She went to full remission. The doctors couldn't even explain it.
I don't understand. If God answered your prayers, why don't you believe?
Because on the way home from the hospital, she died in a car accident.
Miles.
Look, I don't know who's behind this or why they chose me, but I do know that your mom is still out there. I'd give anything to say the same.
The God account connects Miles to people in need.
I don't know who's behind this or why they chose me. They sent me names. They want me to help people.
Hey, somebody stop that gun!
When you pulled me back, I realized, I didn't want to die. Thank you.
A storyline 10 million viewers tuned in to see in the very first episode. There's a lot of great buzz surrounding this show. You had more than 10 million viewers first episode out.
So amazing.
Why do you think people are so drawn to this storyline?
You know, I think that everyone wants to talk about things like faith and politics and connectivity and relationships that just no one knows how to. And I think our show does a really great job at allowing that conversation to happen without judgment.
People say that God has a plan for all of us. Well, I never believed that to be true. But then he friended me, and it kind of turned my life upside down. Not that I think it's God, but in these crazy times we live in, we owe it to ourselves to ask the tough questions.
And you can catch the show on Sunday evenings on CBS. Up next in Studio 5,
Burn the ships, cut the ties, send a flare into the night.
Burn the Ships, Grammy-winning duo for King and Country, are here to perform the #1 single from their latest project. And welcome back to Studio 5. We have made it to the final headline in this week's countdown of uplifting entertainment headlines. At #1.
Filling in the seat that has been empty for a little bit. We are happy to welcome back our Meghan McCain.
Meghan McCain returns to her seat at ABC's The View, following the death of her father, Senator and American war hero John McCain.
People don't know this about you, but you're a caregiver to your father as well, and I met you here on this show. I text with you all the time, and you just prayed with me backstage. You're a true friend. I love you very much. I love you, baby.
As you can see and imagine, it was an emotional return.
In this moment, I want you to know that everything that was in him is in you, and this is your moment in time. You are here for a moment such as this. He has passed the torch to you, the mantle has been passed to you, and you are the perfect person to carry on everything that he began.
God is real. I wouldn't be here without my faith, but I also wouldn't be here without Joe Biden and Joe Lieberman. Those two men have carried me through this experience. And I just want to thank them for being uncles to me.
And that wraps your countdown for the week. Grammy-winning duo for King and Country have a new music project. The songs are built on personal stories of love, faith, and the state of our country. The Australian brothers Luke and Joel Smallbone are here for a Studio 5 Sessions performance.
Lately I've been reeling, watching the nightly news. Can't seem to find the rhythm, just wanna sing the blues. Feels like a song that never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire, fire back in my bones. Before my heart turns into stone. So somebody please pass the megaphone. I'll shout it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, she's my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, she's my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose. Let it move, yeah. Let it move, let it move, yeah. Yeah, I choose. Let it move, yeah. Let it move, let it move, yeah. Yeah, back when I was young, my eyes were full of life. But now that I am older, I live at the speed of light. Feels like the cycle never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones. Before my heart turns into stone. So somebody please pass the megaphone. I'll shout it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, she's my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, she's my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose. Let it move, let it move, yeah. Let it move, yeah. Yeah, I choose. Let it move, yeah. Let it move, let it move, yeah. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, though with you by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose. Let it move, let it move, let it move, yeah. I need the joy down in my heart to stay.
Such a nice performance from For King and Country. Here's a bit of good news. We'll have a wide-ranging conversation with Joel and Luke in the coming weeks. Be sure to watch for that. Their new album, Burn the Ships, is available right now wherever you get your music. As for right now, when words fail, we know pictures don't. So let's take a quick look at this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. It's an old and familiar television tune.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
From the late Fred Rogers and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. His story is in production to hit the big screen next year, starring Tom Hanks. And he is indeed ready to be your neighbor. Sony Pictures released the first photo of the actor as Fred Rogers in the yet untitled movie. And that's this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. And still to come.
They sent me names. They want me to help people.
Hey, somebody stop that guy!
A real-life spiritual lesson from one of the stars of God Friended Me. We're checking in with Javicia Leslie. And welcome back to Studio 5. Can you hear that? It is hard not to move your feet. It is time to turn up the volume on some new music from Leon Bridges. See why If It Feels Good is what's playing in my ear.
Baby, if it feels good, then it must be bad. How much I want you, more than I choose to. I'm falling in love, in love I ain't used to. You give me that stuff, no I can't refuse you. You and I in the light, it's alright.
And let that music play on in your ear, sing along, and dance for a moment. We're almost out of time for this episode of Studio 5, so here's what we're working on for you for next week.
When we make that turn, I probably just want to even feel that push in just a little bit more.
We're going behind the scenes of a new film, adding a powerful perspective to a pressing conversation.
George Tillman, our director, really prepared us to be able to be as true as possible to who these people we are expressing in film.
Go inside the book that's now a movie, The Hate You Give.
I think it's about us.
Us who?
Black people, poor people, everybody at the bottom.
Certainly hope you'll come on back next week for what is sure to be an eye-opening show. Well, we've come to the final word for this show, and we're giving that to one of the stars of God Friended Me. Here's Javicia Leslie.
I always say God gives us a passion to find our purpose. And that's why a lot of people, when they have like a very strong passion, it bothers them. Like it constantly bothers them. Like, I think I should be doing something else. I feel I should be doing something else. Because I feel like it's God saying, hey, I have something for you. You were built a certain kind of way, and I put everything inside of you for a reason. I need you to follow that. And for me, that's what happened. I was sitting at my desk working a 9 to 5. I was working for the Army. I was paying soldiers their stop-loss pay that were held beyond their contracts. And the whole time that I was there, although I was doing amazing work because I was working with the families of our deceased soldiers, I was giving them great news to say, hey, you know, here's something out of nothing, you know. There was still something just kind of tapping me on my shoulder saying like, you have a passion, you know? And I think that constantly developing that passion, constantly nurturing that passion has really helped guide me because it let me know I'm supposed to be here and I'm supposed to be doing exactly what I'm doing.
What a great final word for this edition of Studio 5. Thank you so much for watching this week's look at inspiring and uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone else. Bye-bye, everybody.